baby.
Hello, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Frankie.
And this is Conbini Cult. Welcome to this week's episode. How are you, Frankie?
I'm good. Today is the big reveal.
The big reveal. If you are an audio listener only, I recommend going over to YouTube so you can see the reveal, but I'll just talk about it now.
Or Spotify video.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
but
Apple doesn't have it though. Sorry, Apple listeners.
Losers. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think if you are a regular listener, you've probably heard me hinting at some things
there
here
have been
and there.
hints.
There have been hints, especially if you're an active listener. I won't say anything, but there will be signs. Me just getting a sickly pale color because I haven't been to the tanning salon, or me talking about, I don't know, what did I talk about that was kind of hinty at my big reveal? Going to the doctor a lot and stuff.
Yeah, and some of the healthcare stories.
Yeah. So if you haven't guessed it by now, I am 38 weeks pregnant today. Woo! At the time of recording, which is May 12th. Yeah, so I found out the lovely news, obviously, 9 months ago, because I'm in my last trimester. I'm in my
week?
9th month. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. But so since September, end of September, October, basically, I have been not hiding it, but we've been recording while that was happening. So I'm finally, in the last home stretch.
Yep,
happy
she's
to
been
announce
cooking.
I've been cooking, and I'm not ready. It's gonna be 38 weeks, right? What is pregnancy? 40 weeks?
40 weeks
usually.
Ish, yeah.
So give or take a couple more weeks, I'll kind of be a new person. It was Mother's Day yesterday too, so I'm
happy
missed
Mother's
it.
Day.
Oh, thank you for wishing me anyway. But so that's the exciting news now. If you are a video or a YouTube watcher or Spotify video watcher, you don't have to, wonder why, if you ever were, why does Cheyenne have a pillow over her stomach every time? What is she dancing around? That's what it was. I think by the time this episode comes out, I'll probably be...
You might have a baby.
Yeah, I might have a baby by then. So, future me, am I okay?
Congratulations.
Congrats to me. Welcome.
Unnamed baby.
Unnamed, yeah. BK-chan for now. It's
Okay.
my baby last name.
Okay.
Chan.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a name for it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying it like it's a little thing, but it's a girl.
Oh.
But yeah,
I knew that, but I'm
yeah. Yeah. And so, future me, am I okay? Am I alive? Did my butthole rip?
Not.
That happens. Did I poop on the table?
Did you lose all your teeth?
I hope so. Oh, wait, is that a thing? Oh, wait, did we read that? Something?
It's probably been on TikTok.
Right,
The girl with the list.
Oh, the girl with the list, no. And it's I think because, they suck so much, nutrients from you,
the calcium from your bones if you don't eat well.
Yeah, and I heard, now, because your body's getting ready to provide for another life, all those hormones and stuff, apparently your nails, grow really fast, your hair, it's that, glow. That's where that comes from, right?
Is it true?
I don't feel I'm glowing, but I feel my nails grow faster than usual, but they're still brittle as hell. I've always just had weak nails though.
Okay.
But
just to be clear, you do look beautiful and glowing. I just wanted to know if the hair and the nails really grow faster.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, but I am very I know you can't just see it, but what do you call it? Not my blood pressure, but the blood circulation in my body is just on overtime right now. So anytime I wear rings and stuff, by the end of the day,
your fingers are swollen.
They're so swollen and I can't take them off. So if you look some of these rings, it looks sausage casings when you're trying to bind a sausage. That's what it looks like. Other than that, I've had a very comfortable pregnancy. Thankfully, no big health scares at least. And I haven't had a rough first trimester or anything like that. So this episode topic for today is going to be all about baby stuff, if you haven't picked up by now. Baby stuff and maternity care in Japan. So if that's, maybe a sensitive topic for you, or maybe you're just not interested in that at all, you can always skip. But that is our topic today, is just my big reveal and everything about babies in Japan. Before we get into it, do you have any that was my big life update. Do you have any life updates?
Well, speaking of mothers, so earlier this year, well, last month at this point. So my mom and my aunt came to visit Japan, and they met my husband's family and his parents. So it was the first time everybody's meeting, getting to hang out, and they really had a great time. But my husband's parents, they were using a pocket translator.
Okay.
His dad won it at bingo.
That's a nice price. Like
really cool.
The poketoku, like the expensive one, that's expensive.
Yeah, he won it at bingo. And that
what bingo is he going to? Okay.
I don't know. Something in Wakayama.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really came in handy, and it was pretty accurate for the most part.
Okay.
But there was one moment where it went rogue.
Nice.
So my mom was talking about how she was wearing my aunt's sweater, and then my husband's mom was like, "Oh yeah, it's so great to have other gals around. We can share clothes. Like I'm so happy to have Nicole. Nicole's my government name, by the way. Yeah. We're so happy to have Nicole here, and like her and I can share clothes. It's really awesome." But then the pocket translator was like, "Yeah, just girly things. We love giving BJs."
BJ?
Yeah, it literally said the full thing. And me, my mom, and my aunt were like, "What?
We love giving BJs here." What? Well, okay, so like
I don't know where that came from.
I was just gonna say, like, thinking back on that, was there any like, so this is your husband's mom speaking into it in Japanese, and then it like went rogue in the English translation, right?
Yes.
So I'm trying to think, like, what could she have said in Japanese that would like translate to BJs? Like, do you have any ideas? Like any words that sound similar? Because like a BJ in Japanese, word of the day is well, you can say like nameru, like, which is like the verb for lick. Yeah. But also like fellatio, which is like just fellatio, right? With a katakana accent. Yeah. Or like feta, I think. I'm not like an expert. I'm just like pretty sure based on like, you know, my TikTok knowledge and like having lived here for that long.
I didn't know that.
So did she say like sētā, like sweater, really quickly, and it like sounded like maybe, feta or something?
Maybe.
Like I love how we have this sweater and then the pocket talk was like feta. Sweaters. Okay. Yeah. I have no idea, but
I don't know.
Or that pocket talk is just like, again, your husband's dad won it at bingo, so who knows like who like the programmer was behind the bingo operation, but I don't
know. So that surprised us.
That's funny though. And then so like you saw that, and then did you ask the mom, because you speak Japanese too, right? Yeah. Were you like,
well, I just told them what she said.
Okay.
But of course when the pocket translator said that, she didn't know what it was, so she's just smiling like
But plot twist, she knew.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I just told them, and then I told his mom, I was like, "Oh yeah, it said a bad word, it was like a wrong translation that time," and she was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I guess you're not gonna tell your mom-in-law like, "Oh, it's talking about like sucking."
Yeah.
You know, like, but anyway, that's, I guess, of all the things it could have like went rogue and said, that's funny, right? It could have like, I don't know, said something scary like destroy all humans or something. Or
well, that's
like
next.
Something like very Black Mirror, you know? So
next time they use it, it might start talking like that.
We'll see.
It was just testing the waters with the BJ.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like, I'm sure there's like, you know, Reddits or stories out there of pocket talks going rogue like that. That's kind of, because like no technology is like 100% accurate, you know? Especially like, what do you call it? Like same time translator tools and stuff. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah. I'm glad everyone was peaceful after that, and no big misunderstandings. Yeah. Okay.
That's all I got.
Very nice. Thank you for that story.
Let's learn about maternity.
Yeah. So as usual, I have a little like disclaimer, I guess. So a lot of the topic today is about, like I said, baby care and maternity. Most of the stories we have are going to be from Reddit. So we'll get into like some Reddit, you know, like horror stories or just like experiences about maternity care here in Japan. And then a lot of like my own personal experiences. So of course, I just want to preface, we're not medical professionals, you know, just talking about my own experiences, and like my experiences here doesn't reflect like how all maternity care in Japan is going to be. So of course, every situation is different depending on the area you live in, what kind of hospital you go to, because there are private and public hospitals here. And then maybe other factors like the time of pregnancy, like maybe some Reddit posts we're reading is like from 8 years ago, really old. Maybe some of them took place during COVID, which was like a very different time for hospital care here. So if you do have any like specific questions about like costs or services that hospitals provide, I just recommend looking into your own ward and like your own hospital, like your own area's hospital and everything, because the costs and things like that are not going to be the same across the board. That's it. Anything to add?
No, I mean, same as the healthcare episode that we did. You know, some doctors are good, some doctors are bad. That's just how it is. So some people have good experiences, some people have bad ones. So
yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, like our healthcare episode, we got into like a couple stories, right? About like giving birth.
Oh yeah, someone talked about a epidural and C-section.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a little like idea of what it could be like, But just to kind of like get into it as a warm up, do you remember like way back when one of our first episodes, we did Reddit stories, I think just in general, or like about questions or culture shocks here in Japan?
I think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, and like I can't remember. Do you? It was either a Reddit post or like a news article.
It was a news article.
Oh, okay. About so it was a Japanese woman then, right?
Yes.
Who she passed out like cookies before she took her maternity leave here at her company. And the cookies, it's like a common thing, right? Like whether you take maternity leave or if you go on a trip, like if you're going to be absent at work, Japanese people will tend to, give a gift or something.
Yeah, come back with souvenirs.
They'll kind of like either come back or like maybe if it's a long leave, in this case, like maternity leave, the woman gave it before she left, right?
Before she left,
yeah. And it was like little cookies that said like, sorry for the inconvenience, like I'm on maternity leave. Like I was kind of confused at the story last year when we read it, but like now that I'm in this position, they exist. Like they actually make cookies like that are decorated that say like kyuke sasete itadakimasu or like yasumi sasete itadakimasu or whatever. So
but in that article it was saying that a lot of people hate them.
Like who are a lot of people? Like did it say like majority men hated them or like majority like bitter women?
No, it was
like,
mixed.
Yeah. Well,
because they included some comments in that article. We can relink it, by the way, if you want to check it out. But mixed comments like, oh, she's just gonna take a nice vacation. She's just showing off. She's being insensitive to women who cannot, like,
Yeah, and I think we like mentioned that in that episode too. It's like, I understand, like maybe some people have had bad experiences with pregnancy or like trying to get pregnant and cannot or whatever. And so my heart does go out for those people, but in this case, like no one is doing it on purpose to like brag, know, like everyone feels guilty for leaving their job for like a long amount of time. It's like an awkward position to be in, like to be like, well, gotta go take care of this thing, like, sorry, peace out. And so you reminded me of this when I took my maternity leave. So I've been on maternity leave for a couple weeks now.
How's your vacation?
Yeah, how's my vacation? Not gonna lie, it's pretty sick. Like everything leading up to it, like of course I was super busy at work because I had to make sure like all of my stuff was done. And like me personally, I didn't want to like dip out. Like I really, like people who are taking these leaves, they prepare. I mean, I'm sure there's some a-holes out there who are like, peace, bye, but like I tried to leave with everyone as prepared, as much as I could. Like I feel bad about missing a year of work, and I'll get into that, but like because I plan to take childcare leave and stuff too. So it's like, the least you could do is just like give people a snack, if it's custom in your country. So I got those cookies. Frankie asked me like, did you buy those cookies for your coworkers? And I was like, I did. And I just I was kind of bad because I remembered to do it like after I left already. And my company is like very remote. Like I don't work in a huge office with lots of people anyway. But so the way I did it was I ordered them on Amazon and I just had them be delivered to each office because I work across like 3 offices.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Yeah. And they just, I mean, again, who knows, right? Because I wasn't physically there to see the faces of my coworkers, but they also thank you. Like no one was an asshole about it. Like they were like, oh, that's nice. You didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. And that was that. So it's not always a bad experience. If that Reddit post kind of like made people feel like, oh, I don't know what to do now. Like I think it's better to do it than do nothing at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be cookies.
Personally, I'll take a cookie.
Right. Like, it's kind of just like, it's just something to eat. Like, it's not that deep, you know? Like, we don't have to like look at them. And you don't even have to get it with the message on it. That's just like me being extra. But, you know, you can just eat it and move on with your life. So
or anyway, don't eat it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because I forgot that was like a thing we did talk about. But to get into it, I wanted to kind of just go over some fun, not fun, more like Reddit stories I found about like unfortunately bad experiences with maternity here in Japan, and like just general questions. Like I don't personally plan to get into the like nitty gritty of maternity leave and rules and regulations and like costs and all that stuff. We'll like touch over it a little bit, right? You have some information as well, but I just wanted to go over like more experiences and questions. Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, on Reddit and stuff, more of the nightmare experiences are the ones that get shared.
Yeah. Of course.
It'd be a little bit, I mean, not weird, but if somebody was just posting on Reddit Japan Life, I just had a baby and I had the most wonderful experience.
Like, I don't think as much as like I love for it to be, I don't think social media or like the internet is like.
It thrives on negativity.
Yeah. It's not meant for like people to share their happy experiences only, right? So
unless it's like very informational.
Yeah, of course.
Like, this is the breakdown of the costs and everything. I feel like that would do well.
Yeah, so I don't want to like start in with this and be like, it's all bad, you know? Like, this is just the stories I found, and maybe because of, you know, these posts, it might be a little bit more informational versus sharing only like positive things I've experienced here, you know? Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like it's good to hear about negative things too, just so you have a general idea of things that could possibly happen. I don't know.
Of course. Okay, so I'm going to have you read this first story.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a Reddit post from 8 months ago. Yep.
Okay. It is titled, Refusing Maternity Leave Because of Less Than 12-Month Contract. Is this even legal? Hello, Japan Life Reddit. My wife was transferred to Japan by her company. The option they used was one of those intermediate Japanese companies that act as employer of record and hire her in Japan and a new contract. Now, a few months ago, we found out that we're expecting a baby, and now we're trying to sort out maternity leave, etc. HR at the employer of record company forwards her this rule about being eligible for maternity leave only if you've been employed for more than 12 months. Leaving aside the absurdity that she's worked at the actual company in Europe way more than 12 months, and it is only the employer of record contract in Japan that has been active for only 6 months. B, is it even legal to deny maternity leave? So what happens to women that get pregnant less than 12 months into their contract? Are they fired or expected to give birth on their desk? I have read conflicting information about this topic before, so I was hoping to clarify it. It certainly is not making sense to us. Many thanks. Damn.
So, yeah. The top comment of that, the person replied to the "is this even legal?" question. It says, no, she's legally entitled to maternity leave as per the labor standards contract. But it is... What? As per the Labor Standards Act. Sorry. But it's important that you understand the difference between maternity leave and childcare leave. Yes. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But they said, because she may not be eligible for childcare leave at least until after the 12-month mark, so she has until the child's first birthday, on some occasions until the second birthday, to take childcare leave. Yeah, so that is a big one to remember. The second comment after that kind of like follows up with that. It says, there are 2 types of leave when giving birth in Japan. Sankyuu. So maternity leave, which is from 6 weeks before birth and 8 weeks after birth, and ikukyuu, which is childcare leave, which is up to the kid's first birthday or second birthday if the person giving birth extends it. Yeah, so even at less than 1 year after joining the company, your wife can take sankyuu, maternity leave. This is non-negotiable. But for ikukyuu, the childcare leave, based on the agreement between the company and the union, if any, the employer can deny it. So yeah, that one is very situational. Yeah. So
I didn't realize there was a difference between maternity and childcare leave.
Yeah. And in this case, for example, right, I guess it just depends on the employer for the childcare leave. But again, for anyone who is new to this topic, it is important to know that there is a difference between the two. And that was something that I learned as well, like, you know, while doing this process. So I took like full advantage of that maternity leave. So you are allowed to take it up to 6 weeks before your due date, but like any time from your 6 weeks, you're not like mandated or required to take it like from the 6 weeks. Some people take it like they'll continue working until like, you know, the week before their due date or whatever. It's totally up to you and your situation and all that stuff. Me personally, I think I took it 5 weeks or so before my due date. I still had like some things to tie up at work, but also I wanted to like take advantage of that as much as possible. As an American, I don't think you get that amount of time ever.
Probably not.
For maternity leave. So having the option of 6 weeks before and 8 weeks after, and that's just maternity leave, was like so reassuring to me as a first time and expecting mom. So yeah, and me personally also, I'm going into the ikukyuu, the childcare leave as well. And I'll probably take that for the year that I'm allowed to. But again, you don't have to. Yeah, up to you. But yeah. What is it in the US at least? 6 weeks?
I thought it was either 2 or 3 months. I'm not really sure. So I have a friend who gave birth recently in the US. And she did take some time off before giving birth. And then after, it was 2 months. And then I think she did go back to work. But she was a teacher who was like a Title I school teacher. And with the Department of Education getting defunded, she was immediately fired after laid off after returning from her maternity leave.
And that's
so legal? She was like, silver lining, I get to be on more maternity leave.
I guess. What a positive outlook, because I would be so pissed. But is that legal then? Like to be, I mean, they did it, so.
Yeah, I mean, they laid off a lot of people.
Ugh. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to start off with that story because, again, heads up, maternity leave and childcare leave are different for mothers. Yeah.
I learned something new already.
Yay, I'm glad. Okay. The second story I found was kind of wild. I'm going to read it, but it's very, it's long-ish. I'll go ahead and read it. Hey, do you want to popcorn it?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So this one was posted 3 years ago. It is titled Bill Dispute with Maternity Clinic.
Ooh.
Too long, didn't read. Maternity clinic is charging us for the most expensive room, even though we were only provided with a smaller one.
Huh?
Yeah. So my wife just gave birth at a clinic in Tokyo and everything went well. However, they now want to make us pay for 5 days in the most expensive room of the clinic, even though she only stayed in that room for 1 day, having then being forced to move to a smaller room. We are disputing this, but I am unsure what the usual process for disputing a bill is in Japan, so would like some advice on this. And I'll give more context to make things totally clear.
Me. Oh.
Yes, please.
My wife was initially being provided care at a clinic that had an international unit. At some point, it was announced that due to COVID, partners would not be allowed to attend the birth at all. Since this was not acceptable to us, and some other patients, we were transferred to another clinic that does not usually accommodate foreigners. Upon transferring, my wife signed a 1-page document entitled, "To those transferring from blah, blah, blah." It said that if mother and baby were in good condition, then they can be discharged on day 2. If we did not stay for the full 5 days, then we'd still need to pay for the full 5 days. Huh?
Oof.
What? Okay.
Oh, sorry. My wife was told she could only choose the most expensive room type due to the presence of birthing partners. Okay.
On day 1, a rude nurse came in and told us we were only supposed to stay 2 days, and we complained that was not what we had understood. At some point, they seemed to agree to let us stay beyond 2 days. However, they asked that my wife and child move to a smaller room. My wife agreed since she figured they were not expecting us to stay longer in that room due to some misunderstanding.
However, they are now billing us for the expensive room for the full 5 days. To be clear, I do not dispute the 5 days since that was in the agreement. What I am disputing is that we pay for the expensive room even though we were not allowed to stay in it. Yeah.
What is the usual process for resolving these sorts of disputes in Japan? Is it possible to use an arbitration process? Is it usual to just pay whatever is asked and dispute later? Should I be seeking professional legal help? Any advice would be much appreciated.
Yeah, so
damn.
I have no idea. I kind of just wanted to read this story because I didn't know that was like a thing that could happen. Again, probably depending on the hospital and their policies or whatever. But the top comment on this, it said, having read the rest of your comments, it does sound like they essentially pulled a bait and switch on you. And then replying to OP's comment about, if we did not stay the full 5 days, then we'd still need to pay the full 5 days. This commenter was like, that doesn't sound lawful. Some of these clinics unfortunately do take advantage of people at very emotional times. You should discuss this with Consumer Affairs first. They will be aware of the relevant laws regarding clinic billing. So once you've got their opinion, you can have a better idea of like which way to go. And if they tell you you're on solid footing, then you can simply tell the clinic to accept the lesser payment or take you to court.
Oh, see you in small claims court.
Yeah, I didn't know this. It's like really...
That's such a hassle though.
It's such a hassle.
You have a new baby. You don't want to be dealing with this.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm going to try to go back a little bit. This person, I'm assuming, because, you know, they're posting this in English, like on Reddit, Japan Advice or whatever,
foreign.
That they're foreign. But I don't think they made any specific... Like,
if the wife
is Japanese or foreign or whatever. So
I would assume the wife is also foreign because they were talking about
like signing the agreement in English.
Yeah, miscommunication and stuff.
Yeah,
misunderstanding.
And so, I mean, it's not fair, right? Just to get this kind of treatment for being foreign or like not speaking fluent Japanese or whatever. So I don't want to hear anyone like, well, if you spoke Japanese, you wouldn't run into this or whatever. Like, that's not like what we're trying to get at here. But like, it's really unfortunate that, you know, sometimes as a foreigner, I recommend like really doing research when it comes to like choosing hospitals and like seeing which clinics or hospitals can like offer English assistance if that is something that you require and stuff.
But this place was not their first choice. Yeah. They couldn't go with their first choice because he wouldn't have been allowed in the room while she gave birth. Yeah, which is something that like I'll mention later, like from my personal experiences. But during COVID in Japan, I think in like a lot of countries too, the partner wasn't allowed in the room during birth, and but they were very strict here.
Yeah, super strict. And I know someone, I think like even because it's very typical for women to stay in the hospital for like 5 weeks, or not 5 weeks, 5 days.
5 days.
I wish 5 weeks, 5 days after giving birth. And I think especially during COVID too, you weren't allowed like any visitors at that time. And so, it's really unfortunate. But we do have an update on this person. Okay. I'm not going to read it all because it sounds like they just encountered more problems with this clinic. It is very long.
Is that surprising?
Yeah. So their update, it says, too long didn't read. We were being mistreated and eventually we got the bill reduced. So good. We have like a positive update. All right. Eventually they managed to get like a meeting with the doctor or the owner of the clinic, and I guess, you know, after hiring or, you know, getting an interpreter involved in all of that stuff, everything was settled and they did get the bill reduced. That's kind of like all I'll really mention at that point.
That's all we need to know.
Yeah, really? And kind of like how they got to that conclusion. I just wanted to read this OP's personal takeaways about how to deal with the situation. So they personally recommend, you know, like maybe don't sign documents in English. If there's a problem, it's very hard to reach an agreement on what the English means. Yeah, if they don't understand it. And I'm assuming if the they is like the clinic or like, you know. And the second one is prefer to deal with larger institutions with deep hierarchies. If a situation escalates, it's more likely someone along the escalation chain thinks, okay, this is unreasonable, I'll sort it out. So I guess maybe choosing a bigger clinic over a
they have more experience
one,
with that kind of
more people to like kind of oversee and make a decision, I guess. But so I'm glad like tips. Everything was good. Like they did get the bill reduced, but
that's good.
Yeah, it is overwhelming, especially like I'm, you know, in a lucky position. My partner is Japanese, so like when you do go to the doctor for anything, like you receive a lot of like documents and papers, and like when you're like giving birth or having a baby, even more so because there's so many like consent forms you need to sign. If you choose to get like an epidural or not, like there's more documents about that, and they always just kind of shove it at you like, hey, read this and then like sign it and bring it back to us next time. And like depending on the clinic, they may or may not have that in English. Mine did not have anything in English, and like I said, I was able to have my partner read it through with me to make sure I understood what was going on, because it's me that's going to be, giving birth. But for couples that, two partners that don't speak Japanese, I can see how it can be really stressful. So again, just be careful. The next story I found is called The Nightmare of Giving Birth in Japan. And again, maybe it's good to read the bad stuff.
Okay.
To just warn people.
Should I read? We're going to skip the edits first and just read the original.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. My son was born last week. My wife was hospitalized for 3 days to induce labor, during which time she could not receive visitors. When was this? 2 years ago.
So maybe just coming after COVID.
Yeah, maybe COVID rules were easing up a bit. Yeah. During the delivery, I was allowed to be by her side. It was hours of pain as the baby was very large and the doctors refused to perform a C-section, occasionally resulting in internal hemorrhaging after birth, turning it into a high-risk delivery. Had a cesarean been performed, everything would have been completed many hours earlier and it would not have caused so many problems. Yeah. When a baby is born here in Japan, they stay in the hospital with their mother for at least 5 days. In my case, it was 6 days. Despite it being 2023, the hospital has rules that completely deviate from common sense. I may only visit my wife for 10 minutes a day. Although we are paying for a private room, the visitation takes place in the hallway, a communal area. The visit is solely for the mother, meaning I was unable to see my son for 6 days. Only I am allowed to visit her. Her parents are not. Apparently, even a prisoner can receive visitors in prison, but a newborn cannot. When I questioned the doctor about these rules, he simply repeated them to me instead of explaining their reasoning. The most frustrating part of all these years in Japan is my issue with dealing with the lack of common sense and the inability to think and reason instead of merely following rules without question. Certainly, these rules were established by someone at least 70 years old, and literally, no one says anything due to the culture of hierarchy. However, when I was in the military, I had reasonable means to question such things. I wrote essentially what I said above as feedback to the hospital, but they rejected it, stating that they only accept feedback regarding service, not rules. In other words, they don't even consider questioning nonsensical rules.
Yeah, so sounds like a nightmare to me. But they did have a couple of edits.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll read
you
their
can
first
take them both.
edit. Yeah. They said, "No, I'm not generalizing or criticizing the Japanese healthcare system, nor am I comparing it to that of the USA. The postpartum medical team deserves only praise, as does the entire prenatal care." Okay. Edit 2, an update on my trauma from giving birth in Japan. After 1 month, my wife continued to experience cramps and difficulty moving, getting up, sitting down, etc. During the 2 medical appointments, they performed an ultrasound, pap smear, and said that everything was fine. Today, a thread began to emerge from the vaginal canal, and when pulled, a large forgotten gauze came out from my wife's uterus. I am now considering whether it is worthwhile to sue the hospital for medical negligence.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't even know how to comment on that second part, because that is terrifying to find, something forgotten in you. It's not the wife's or the partner's responsibility to find that, it's just so happened they did. So, I don't know. I think the overall comments were just saying, rules for each hospital must be different. The top comment, they said, my wife was granted an immediate cesarean once even the slightest of complications came up, which I've kind of heard this a lot too.
Yeah. In our healthcare stories episode, the person said emergency
C-sections
C-section
were very common.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have another friend who also had an emergency C-section here.
Yeah. So, and after hearing that and speaking to some friends and stuff too, I was kind of scared because if I can avoid a C-section as much as possible, I would like to, but also if it's an emergency, get it out of me, it is what it is. But so hearing the OP's post about how they would not perform it, it was kind of rare.
I wouldn't expect that.
That's not what I expected at all. And so, sorry, to go back to the top comment, they also said, I also had the complete opposite experience that you did with visitations and meeting my baby. This was during COVID too. They just made sure I masked up and washed my hands thoroughly before being allowed to hug and hold her. It sounds like you went to an extremely conservative hospital. I can't say much, but sorry for the poor experience. Having a baby is such a precious moment, and that hospital made it such a horrendous experience for you. And a lot of people are just asking the name of the hospital. I don't think they said it though. I don't know. But just to go back to like OP's like visitation limits and stuff too. They said what, like 10 minutes a day, which like even
in the hallway,
which like 2
no baby,
years,
just wife.
Like during COVID, I get like 2020, 2021. It sucks,
when everything
but like
started.
I kind of see it. But like 2 years after, I don't know, that just seems a little like overkill. Like 10 minutes a day, like that's not even worth like, I mean, it's your child. It's worth going to the hospital for, but you know what I mean? Like 10 minutes is kind of crazy. In my experience in like my hospital, I was a little shocked that visitors only get 1 hour a day. And that includes the partner, like the father as well. Yeah. So my partner can only come to the hospital, 1 hour a day. And I asked them like what that's about, and they kind of like excuse it or like bring it down to like, you know, mothers need to rest, like, which I appreciate, but also like dads need to be with their babies as well, you know, like, but it was like mothers need to rest. Like you probably have a very specific like nursing schedule if you are like feeding or breastfeeding, and like I'm of course like germs and stuff too. Like I'm pretty sure the hospital doesn't even allow children, like young children, to visit in the room because like kids have germs. That makes sense. Thankfully, I asked like, you know, what if like my family comes or people I know want to visit? Is it 1 hour for the whole day? And it seems my hospital is like 1 hour per person. So like partner could come for an hour and then like, you know, tag out, and like for my mom, for example, could come for an hour. But that 10 minutes thing sucks. But anyway, this person had an update like about the gauze situation and stuff. Yeah. And in their update, they said it was kind of like unfortunate because, just to summarize, they went back to that hospital to like, you know, go take care of it. And then a lot of the comments were kind of like not super supportive of it. Let me get into it. So their second post is very long. Like they just talk about the process of like going to the hospital to address like that gauze situation. And again, they did not receive like good care or like good support or anything. And the top comment of this second post with 486 upvotes said, "Mate, every comment in the previous thread told you that you need a new hospital, or at the very least a new doctor, and not to hang it on the whole country. You went to the same hospital to see the same doctor who you knew had issues and somehow expected to get a better experience out of it. Why bother posting at all if you're not going to at least read what others are telling you?" Which was like kind of strong.
That's a little insensitive.
That's a little insensitive and a little mean.
Is it that easy to find a new doctor postpartum? I'm not sure.
I don't know. And I mean, I assume at that point, like you already like did your checkups at that hospital. You already gave birth at that hospital. Like
they have all your information.
They have your information for like, and when you find emergency or, you know, like forgotten stuff like that gauze and stuff, you could be going through like toxic shock syndrome and stuff.
That's
and
what
like
I was thinking.
That needs to be like addressed right away. And like I'm considering like, you know, just the amount of time it takes to like register your information with many places in Japan, like for sake of time, like, yeah, you're going to go to the same hospital where like they put that in you. So they know like where and how to take it out. Like it was probably, even though like maybe their care wasn't the best, it was probably like just the best option for them at the time, instead of like going to an entirely new clinic, explaining the whole situation and all of that stuff. But yeah, there's a second comment. It says, a lot of comments said that OP had bad luck and should go to a new hospital, and don't generalize the whole country based on this one particular hospital. And now OP is blaming the whole thread. Like, OP is doing the same thing he did in the previous thread. He said that as if the problems he faces is the norm here. It's not. Doctors forgetting gauze is a mistake. It's not the norm. It's the doctor's problem, not Japan's problem. So a lot of people like were very unsupportive in this like update post, which
but I feel
really
like
sucks.
I don't know. I didn't get the vibe so much as these commenters said he was generalizing the whole country.
No.
He was just saying that this particular clinic was so rigid about their rules.
Yeah. And like if gauze or anything was forgotten in me, like I'd go off on Reddit too, you know, like I don't know, like I didn't expect, because I saw an update and I was like, okay, cool, like maybe something good came out of it, but a lot of the comments were just like, it's your fault for going back to the same hospital, like what do you expect, like, which was kind of, I don't know, not nice in my opinion. But Anyway, that is a horror story I wanted to get through. Now that we've kind of gone through, the scary stories or the scary experiences here, I did find a lot of just general posts about questions about like maternity leave and, what is the norm and stuff. So this next post I found is called My Boss Told Me That Our Company Does Not Allow Maternity Leave and I have to resign and reapply when I'm ready to work. Is this correct?
Sounds like it's not, but let's get into it.
Yeah, it does not sound right at all. And this was posted 3 years ago. Would you like to read it?
Sure. So my husband and I, both 31, both foreigners, are planning to have a baby in 2 years until I have at least worked for a year or two in my new company. I asked my boss regarding our plan of having a baby, and he said I cannot take maternity leave because I'm not a seishain employee, and I would have to reapply in the future. Is this okay under Japanese law? What are our rights? Are we still able to get maternity pay during that time, even if I'm no longer employed? Thank you.
Okay. So this was posted 3 years ago, like I mentioned, and the top comment says, no company is going to want to give you maternity leave. 2 years before you get pregnant is way too early to let them know that you want to try. Depending on the company, they might look for reasons to let you go. Since
shady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Since April 2022, the government made it easier for people to get maternity leave. You most likely qualify. Just keep working and do not talk about getting pregnant again to your current boss. You need to be working to get maternity pay. Edit. Did you Google it? This article took me less than 1 minute. Sassy. This article took me less than 1 minute to find answers to all of your questions. And then they posted a link, which we can post in the notes later.
Okay.
And it says, if a mother decides to resign from her company during maternity leave, she can still receive maternity allowance as long as she satisfies the following conditions. 1, the mother resigns within 42 days of giving birth. 2, the mother is not working on the date of her resignation, including a new job at a different company, I assume. 3, she was enrolled in shakaihoken, which is social insurance or employees insurance, for at least 1 year by the time she resigned. And 4, she was already receiving maternity leave allowance or was qualified to receive the allowance when she resigned.
Okay.
It sounds a little shady, but like one thing I would like to at least mention is this could be different depending on what kind of contract you work for. Like if you are a seishain, yes, like you are entitled to maternity leave. If you work a koyoukeiyaku, which is an employment contract, yes, that includes maternity leave. If you are a freelancer under a gyoumuitaku keiyaku, that does not include things like maternity leave or childcare leave and stuff. So I don't think she mentioned what her job is or like what kind of contract she works for. And so the thing of like you could resign and then like reapply to the company, who knows, maybe I'm not going to make an assumption, but there might be a case where like, yeah, freelancer, like, cause you don't get the maternity leave anyway in that contract, like they probably meant like you would just stop working. And then when you're ready to like work again, come back working. Okay. Yeah. Is my guess, but I don't know. I just like hope the company's not shady if she is a seishain, Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I guess it is better to not let them know your plans so far in advance.
Yeah, especially 2 years in advance. You don't want to plant the seed in their mind. Like,
because she's leaving eventually.
Yeah. Because I know a couple of people where they, it wasn't explicitly said like they were let go because they were like gonna take maternity leave or like expecting, but the timing of it was very fishy. So yeah, it is unfortunately a thing that happens. Okay. The next post I found was about just maternity and paternity leave rights and explanations.
Maternity.
Yeah. I found a Reddit post, but it was posted 10 years ago. So I assume a lot of things have changed since then.
You want to go back and forth?
Yeah. So the title 10 years ago is Maternity/Paternity Leave and Family Care Leave Rights and Explanations. So I'd like to make this link, they posted a link, visible. It's a good official translation of the paternity/maternity leave law here in Japan. So to read through the key points, if you have a permanent contract and have been working for a year for your company, you definitely have a right for the maternity/paternity leave. Not something your company can refuse, and in other cases, you may have it too.
The right applies to both mother and father. Both can take up to a year. It can be the same or at different times. The only limit is the 1-year-old anniversary.
Request in writing 1 month in advance minimum. Obviously, it's better to notice your workplace as early as possible.
You can take a first leave in one block until baby is 8 weeks, then another leave until 1 year old, extension possible under conditions. So basically, you take what you want, when you want, in this time frame, as long as it is in one block. So even if the baby is born in January, you can take a couple weeks off when he's born, then August off, then travel to your home country to present him or her to the family, etc.
You cannot work during the leave. Okay.
You'll be paid half of your salary and up to around 21 man a month. I think that depends on your usual salary.
Yeah. So I wouldn't take that one into much consideration. Yeah.
This money is tax-free for the year income tax and calculation of next year local tax. Also free from Social Security and pension payments. This money comes from Social Security, not your company, who has no cost in your absence, except replacing, of course. You're covered by Social Security as usual, even if you don't pay monthly for it anymore. I have no idea on the impact on retirement, though.
And they also added, from experience, that the payment will be made to you with a very long delay, like 4 to 5 months after the start. So have some cash ready to cover your leave and don't rely on the payments at all. And only about 2%. Okay, so this one I wanted to say take with a grain of salt because this was 10 years ago.
Well, I have an update on that.
Okay, so I'll read the old information and then Frankie will get into more information about paternity care, right?
Yeah.
So they said only roughly 2% of fathers actually take any kind of leave in Japan and 70% of the mothers. Okay, so I'll let you get
70% of the mothers is surprising.
Again, this was 10 years ago. Maybe it's I would assume it's higher now. Even at 10 years ago seems a little low because sengyoushufu, housewives and stuff were a very common thing here in Japan from the beginning of time. Kind of. So, yeah. What is your update or your info?
So I was curious about paternity leave and if people actually take it. So I did look up a little bit about it. So my findings, paternity leave is included in the Child Care Leave and Family Care Leave Act. Fathers can take up to 1 year. The typical amount is about 2/3 the usual monthly salary. Not many people actually take it though. In fiscal 2022, 17.3% of men took paternity leave. And I assume when they say men, they mean new dads.
Right? You're just a single guy taking
just a random man. I want to take paternity leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so 10 years ago it was 2%.
Okay.
Now, more recently, 17-ish.
Not the best, but we love an increase at least. Yeah, literally baby steps. Yeah.
Oh, question.
Huh.
So is your baby daddy taking paternity leave?
Baby daddy! He is, yes, and he is going to take 1 month. At least. So at least I'm kind of not manifesting, but being
he's
at least, right?
He's got to increase these percentages.
I know,
of men who take paternity leave.
Put it all on his back. But I'm very grateful for the 1 month. I've had a lot of male coworkers whose wives have given birth and they were still coming to work. They never took it at all.
Not even a day.
No. So I'm very thankful for it. And he plans to take it after I get out of the hospital. Because if he only gets the hour a day, it's kind of 1 week wasted of, him taking the paternity leave. So he's going to time it with nenkyuu, building up to the birth, and then paternity leave when I am back home and stuff. Yeah. So I'm very, very grateful, again, just in comparison to other partners or who maybe they're just unable to, right? Or they feel pressure from work. I don't know what the reasons are why many men in Japan don't take paternity, that's a hard word to say for Elmo, paternity leave here in Japan. Everyone has different reasons, but yeah. Thankful for that 1 month at least. Yeah.
Well, I hope more people start to take advantage of those benefits. Okay.
Oh, is that all you had about it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's it from me.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, with the fact that you still get paid, whether, even if it's reduced salary here in Japan, just for taking childcare leave and stuff is still so crazy to me in a good way, right? Because
isn't it unpaid in the US?
Yeah, it's kind of
depending where you work.
Depending where you work, I'm sure, and what kind of job you have, but a lot of it is unpaid. It's very short in comparison to Japan in this case, and the hospital thing too. Like I mentioned, you are expected to stay in the hospital for at least 5 days, and that's if you have no complications, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, the nurses and stuff teach you more about breastfeeding if that is something you're doing, or helping you change monitors, monitoring you, just making sure the mother gets rest as well. And I'm kind of stoked because I don't know if you've seen on like, you know, TikTok, I'll occasionally run into like photos of like what kind of meals are provided in the hospital, like for like the maternity ward and stuff. So I'm like, I'm just excited to like eat and stuff. Because like a lot of like TikTokers I see who are like in the US, it's like get ready with, or like, you know, day 1 of coming home after giving birth. And it's like they just got kicked out of the hospital like the next day, you know, and then they have to do all of that stuff at home. Not alone, like they have a partner usually, or like, you know, so quickly after giving birth is like so nuts to me. So I'm very, very like thankful for my current situation. But, yeah. I hope more dads do take paternity leave here in Japan eventually. Okay. And the last like big post I'll read from Reddit. Someone did just post a cost breakdown, and I thought it would be kind of interesting to talk about pretty briefly. Again, please don't take all of this information like, what do you call it? Like
with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt. This was posted 3 years ago, and it looks like this person also lives in Tokyo, which can be very different if you live somewhere else. So
in Minato-ku, which is a pretty wealthy...
Yeah, it's a very like bougie area.
Ward of Tokyo.
Yeah. So this person said, I thought I would be claiming a massive like medical fee deduction, but after tabulating all of my receipts, it seems that I severely underestimated how much cash back I got from various institutions. I ended up in the black, even though my wife gave birth with an epidural at a top hospital in Tokyo. Ooh. Yeah. So delivery costs. My wife spent a month in Minato-ku's Iku hospital. Wow. Because she was at risk of going into early labor. So that's why she stayed so long. Okay. She was in a private room per doctor's order, so no extra charge there. Then she gave birth with an epidural and stayed for the standard 5 days after delivery in a private room at 3,000 yen. It's like $300, like $250.
Maybe 200 US, these days.
These days per night.
Per night.
And like for us, it's like, damn, that's bougie. That's so expensive. But if you think about it in like a US lens, I know we probably
it'd be like 5,000, 10,000 a night.
We probably sound like big whiners, but like, yeah. Anyway, so if you want to read this total cost and breakdown.
Okay, so the total cost was 1,317,059 yen. So for the ease of conversion, let's say 10,000-ish.
Okay, yeah.
Total cost before any deductions and stuff. Then we got all of the following cash back. Ooh. Basic childcare coverage, 420,000. Minato-ku resident childbirth coverage. I'm not going to read the amounts for everything. Just to tell you what it is. Company's insurance childbirth coverage. Company's congratulation bonus.
Love that.
Oh, but that one was only 10,000 yen.
And then they said they were stingy
bastards.
Take what you can get, man. That's kind of nice. Okay.
Okay. Company's insurance extra payments. Not sure where this is coming from. I did claim some kanji I can't read. Sorry. Wife's life insurance coverage. Wife's women's health insurance coverage, co-op kyosai, subscribed after we confirmed pregnancy just in case. So the total cash back was 1,490,119 yen.
So more.
What was their profit? 100 yen or something? Oh, no.
No, like
maybe more than
100,000 yen. $1,000-ish.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they actually ended up earning, I suppose, 173,060 yen.
Love that.
So at least $1,000. Maybe $1,200 or something.
So I guess like in this context, you know how like sometimes you see videos where it's like the Japanese government will pay you to have babies in Japan or whatever, like one of those very clickbaity things. In this case, like that's kind of like what happened.
Sometimes it does happen.
Yeah. And again, this was like because of where they live and like just they also pay they mentioned like nisei, so that's like separate life insurance.
Other life insurance, other women's health insurance.
Yeah. So if you're just paying like into your standard shakaihoken, like your company insurance, like you're probably not going to get these things back, obviously. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. But when we did the healthcare episode, I also mentioned a friend who gave birth and her baby was in the NICU for a couple weeks, and they ended up getting more money back than they paid as well. in that case. So
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, and like one key word here to like kind of listen to is, you know, for example, they said the Minato-ku resident childbirth coverage.
They probably pay a lot in Texas.
Yeah, because it's very expensive to live there, right? So again, like these numbers, if you're looking at the post, are not going to be exact or, you know, the same everywhere.
Yep.
For example, in Osaka, I haven't like broken down any of my costs, but like just off the top of my head, for example, the city will give me like a jumayan, like a 100,000 yen stipend or whatever, and 500. So like I'll get 500 first, like gomayan, and I have to like talk to a social worker. Basically, she kind of like calls me once in a while and checks in, like, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" And if I like check that off, you know, like if I do that, then that's my first gomayan, and then after I give birth, she'll like come for a home visit and be like, "Are you okay? Like, are you mentally well?" You know, and if I not pass that, but if I like do that, then I'll get the remaining gomanen. So like my city will pay me or support me with jumanen, like 100,000 yen, just for doing those two things, you know? So, and that's just like Osaka City. And then I've also received like it's kind of like a coupon book basically that covers different like things for medical costs and checkups. So I'll bring that to the hospital every time. And let's say if you're scheduled to get like a blood test or whatever, like maybe if that's a more expensive medical cost, they'll take that like coupon out of your Osaka City like maternity book and be like, "Oh, you can use it." So it gets reduced down to like $10 or whatever. Yeah. So very, very nice. I don't pay that much at all of my hospital visits. So that's just kind of a general cost breakdown I wanted to get into because babies are expensive, but they don't have to be. If you also like, please keep in mind, you don't just like have your baby and then the city automatically knows and they send you all of this money. You got to do
paperwork for this
You have to do so much paperwork like before and after your baby.
You
so
want
like
your money back? You better work, bitch.
Exactly. You better work, bitch. But like, yeah. So again, keep that in mind as well. Just because you like are a resident in Japan and you live here doesn't mean like the city knows to send you this money. It's all this paperwork you have to do.
Yep.
So, and if you don't do it, they don't know and you won't like get it. So just keep that in mind. Okay. I won't get into this last Reddit thing. It was just like a big general resource for anyone who had like questions about pregnancy in Japan, which we can link in the show notes because again, it's more just about costs and maternity leave and paternity leave rights and all that stuff.
It's called Pregnancy and Your Rights in Japan. So yeah, if you want to look that up on your own.
Yes, please do that. My general takeaways, I just wanted to get into like some of my personal experiences. I don't want to like make Frankie just like sit here and listen to me yap about like my mom.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but I'll kind of just bullet point through them because we've talked about them a lot. Thanks. One thing, and again, this is like to prepare anyone who is interested in this topic. One thing that like is, I guess, on the verge of culture shock, I don't know, is like we talk about like fat phobia here in Japan a lot, especially when it comes to like, you know, healthcare and everything.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
The doctors gave me like a weight limit of like what I'm allowed to gain. And like for, I don't know if it's just in general 10 kilograms, so about 22 pounds across the board, but for me they were for the like
entire pregnancy.
For the entire pregnancy. So from the day you like not find out, but like, you know, your first checkup until birth, they're like, okay, like don't gain any more than 10 kilos or else it's going to be abunai, like dangerous. That's all they've been saying to me.
But can I just say these standards for weight gain for pregnant women, they are post World War II
like, you
era.
know, when people were starving.
So there was food scarcity at that time. And it has not changed since then.
Of course not. And you have to consider too, like the baby weighs about like, let's say 3 kilos. Right? Like 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7 pounds. Yeah. But like your placenta like has some weight to it. There's like a lot of water, all your extra blood and stuff. So like every time I go in, they're just like, oh, you're like reaching your max. Like watch out. And like the thing about that is like, they're not telling me why. They're just telling me don't gain weight. And so like I assume it's for things like to help prevent gestational diabetes or like preeclampsia or things. Like there's got to be some like health reasons why, right? Like if you gain too much weight,
yeah.
I don't know, but like the fact that they just don't tell you why, they're like, don't gain too much weight. And like, unfortunately, a lot of like just general people, like not hospital workers, they're also very much like, watch out, you know, you don't want to, like, you have to be able to bounce back and stuff. It's still very much like that mentality here. That has not been fun. I'm not taking too much of it personally, or not personally, like too seriously. I'm eating what I want. That eating for two, like kangae kata, like thinking, is not really so much a thing now in the US as well. But like,
oh really?
So I hear, I mean, according to like what I read, it's like, I know like people feel like you have to double your intake of food because you're eating for two, but I think you only need to, like, technically in a quote unquote healthy amount, so like 300 to 500 extra calories a day. It's not as like much as people think.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I mean, a baby wouldn't need as many calories as a human. Or
right.
A human.
Because babies are aliens and we are humans.
They're parasites.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of look
as
like
an
little,
adult.
Yeah.
A human baby doesn't need as much as a human adult.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'm eating what I want because I'm kind of using the excuse of like, it's my time to eat what I want.
Yeah. Why not? Enjoy it. Have that sweet treat.
Yes, and I do every night. But
I think you did that anyway. But
oh yeah, I've been doing that. Like I gained like 30 pounds since moving to Osaka, and another like 30 during this pregnancy. So it's fine. It's all fun. Yeah. But speaking of eating what I want, yeah. So if you're from the US, like we are, eating sushi is like a real big like taboo and like no or eating raw fish in general. Yeah. I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos of like mothers who give birth and then finally they get to eat their sushi boat or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I asked about
sushi is life.
It's life. I mean, it's like, you know, such an everyday thing here mostly. And when I asked like my doctor, I was like, hey, I'm from America and like eating raw fish is kind of a no-no when you're pregnant. Is that a thing here? Like, what should I do? The way this man just looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on the planet. He was like, which is like not an appropriate reaction in my opinion, but he was like, this is Japan. Like, our fish is safe. You can eat it. Like, it's totally fine. But I think where he was getting with that is, I think you can, even in the US too, it's not...
In moderation.
It's not like you take one bite of like tuna and then it's...
And the alarm goes off.
Yeah, like mercury poisoning, you know? Like they kind of also advised me here, like, no, like you can totally eat it. But if you eat something like that is typically known to have a lot of mercury, like, you know, maguro, like tuna, for example, like maybe you wait like a week or two before you eat it again. Like we don't recommend eating raw food or raw fish every day, but like... You're not going to die. It's fine. So that was kind of like a surprising little thing to me.
Okay. Question. Isn't it the same with caffeine?
Yeah,
you could have a coffee, but of course in moderation.
Moderation, yeah.
Don't be having 3 cups.
Cups a day. I think like general rule, just 1 cup a day is like easiest to remember. It's something like, I can't remember if it's 100 milligrams of caffeine or 200 or whatever. So if you're tracking it down to the milligram, like, yeah, that's going to be stressful. I kind of just try to drink like decaf as much as I can. But if I drink a coffee, then I'll be like, all right, well, that's it. Like, that's it for the day. Like, obviously, no alcohol. The no alcohol rule very much applies, like in all countries, or in Japan at least. But yeah. So I'm very thankful for the caffeine one. Yeah. No cigarettes, so no smoking. I'm just kidding. But oh
man, all my favorite things.
I know, my favorite
sushi,
things.
Cigarettes,
just
and
like
beer.
Just like pounding beers and then chasing it with sushi and like a cigarette after, you know. But yeah, so like it's kind of like common sense, you know, all the things that are probably bad in your country besides raw fish is like bad here as well. This one I wanted to get into. So if you live in Japan, you're probably familiar with, maybe I'll kind of bring it up. Sorry, noise, crinkle.
It can't be louder than the planes that are flying by outside.
So I'm showing on camera.
Oh, your maternity badge.
Yeah, I have a little maternity badge and it's just like a thing you can attach to your bag, your purse or whatever. And it's like, it's in the shape of a heart. It's pink and it says, "Onaka ni akachan ga imasu." Like, there's a baby in me.
Oh, that's cute. I didn't know what it said.
Yeah. So it's a little like badge, I guess, that you can wear when you're out in public to show that like you are pregnant. And of course, it's not mandatory. It's not something like if you don't want to advertise, you don't have to. It's more so people on public transportation know to give you like to help you sit down, or like there's priority seating sometimes, and it just makes you look like less of an asshole if you sit down there. You're like, I have this thing, like I am pregnant, you know,
I deserve to be here.
Yeah. And so it's supposed to like let people know that you can sit down on the train. In my experience, no one gives a flying fuck about this badge. That's not to say everybody. It's usually just like yucky salarymen that like look at me and then they pretend to like be asleep, or they like scoff at me
go back
or
to
whatever.
looking at their phone.
Yeah. The only people that have actually made it a point to offer me a seat on the train are like other pregnant women.
Aww.
Or like mothers with like small kids and stuff. It's like the girls who get it, you know, like
and the girls who don't.
And the girls who don't. Yeah. But although there was one time where like there was a 2-seater, like the seats facing forward, right? So it was like kind of a middle-aged woman who was sitting next to I want to say junior high school age like boy, and the train was crowded, so I was just kind of like standing awkwardly like above them, like next to them, and the boy
belly in their face.
Yeah, kind of. And the boy, like he saw my badge and he like immediately was like, Dozo, like sit down, like it's okay. I was like, oh, like you're so kind. And then so I had to do the Japanese thing too, like, no, it's okay. And he's like, no, please. I was like, okay, cool. And then I like went to go sit down, and this like lady next to me just like gave me the stinkiest eye, like the dirtiest look, like looked so mad that I was sitting down next to her. Yeah. So it's not all the ladies, unfortunately, but yeah.
She is not a girl's girl.
Yeah. But for the most part, the badge does come in handy. Mostly when you're like bigger, right? Because it's like heavy. I don't want to stand up, to be honest. But
was that the thing that happened today?
No. So I'm right now. So literally today on the way here, if you ride the train in Japan, they have it like already noted, like which cars are the priority cars. Like, so you know where to like line up. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. It says
it's like on the ground, like,
or
maybe on the
it's this entrance.
Yeah. So I
these
like
doors.
I was looking for that one, so I was like waiting specifically so I could like enter the priority car. So I'm at like the front of that line. Like I'm waiting for the train. And then there's like some tourists behind me with a bunch of suitcases. Okay. The train comes. The door is open. Of course, it is like manners to like wait for people who are coming out of the train. You like kind of wait on the side. The people coming out of the train, they come out. And then once that's clear, it is your cue to go in. I like wait for the last person to come out. I'm about to walk into the train to sit down. All those tourists behind me with their suitcases just like intercept, cut in front of me, and they all sit down in every single priority seat with their suitcase. And like usually like it's hard to like, sound like, you need to like make this seat for me. It's not even like an about me thing.
Well, you were
it's
waiting
just, like,
first.
I was first in that line. That's just how lining up works. I have this badge. I'm like, I wore this shirt in public. If you're watching, it's like my stomach is visible. I'm not like, oh, you can't tell. Like I'm 9 months clearly pregnant, and it's like, hey man, like just let's like not use this space, especially because priority seating is not just for me, it's not just for pregnant women, it's for like the elderly, it's for children, it's for people with like disabilities. Like it's, and I get it if like the space is there. I'm sure it's nice to like have a place to sit and like have the extra space to put your suitcase, but like in this situation, like we did not need to like cut me off to like just to prioritize like your suitcase. So that was a little rude. I didn't like that. It's not all tourists, of course. I'm not saying like tourists go home, but also like anyone.
We try to defend the tourists sometimes. Sometimes.
But it's kind of just like, hey man, like read the room or read the train car. Like all 10 of you don't need to be in this spot. And then I'm just like standing there like huffing and puffing. Like kind of bummed. Yeah. So that happened to me on the way here. And that was kind of a bummer.
See, I don't really like confrontation that much. Like, if it was myself in that situation, I wouldn't do it. But if I was with you, I'd be like, hey.
Thank you for defending me. I kind of like...
Did you not see her in the line?
It's hard, right? Because I don't want to be like, hey, this seat is for me. Like, that just sounds really, like, self-entitled, But I tried my best to just, like, look pissed off, but then I, like, walked away. Like, what can I do at that point?
Did you get a seat in another spot?
Nope, I just stood the whole time on the way here. Yeah, because it's not just like, those tourists, right? It's like a lot of people here that either pretend to not see you or like maybe they truly don't. I don't know. Like
yes.
Yeah, so other people need to sit down too.
And we know some people have invisible disabilities, invisible conditions.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not saying like you need to move your seat. Like I don't know what other people are going through.
It's nice if somebody does.
Yeah, I'm not complaining like about the fact that people usually don't get up for me. It's more so like sometimes like in situations
you can tell people are ignoring you.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
Okay.
I got a couple more.
Okay.
Culture shock I feel like if you are pregnant in the US, like being active, like going for walks, it's like totally normal to see like pregnant women like lifting weights and stuff, like at the gym, like,
on the treadmill.
And like anytime I mentioned like working out to friends or colleagues, they were like, what? Like you need to relax. Like you must not like exert yourself like that. Like they very much
But then you can only gain 10 kilograms.
Yeah, like it's like you want me to like stay in this weight limit or not? Like I don't know what you want from me. So like just the like ideas around like working out while pregnant were very much like more, I don't know, gentle here. They were like, oh no, relax. Yeah.
But you already worked out before. Like I've heard that, you shouldn't just suddenly take up a new workout regime if you got pregnant, but if you already did it, then like, you can do some of the same stuff.
Yeah, especially like if you do work out consistently, it just feels so like hard, like
Did
weirdly
I say
like
regime? I meant regimen.
Maybe. Yeah. I didn't even notice.
The workout dictator.
But like I do like kickboxing and stuff before I was getting pregnant, and like kickboxing, obviously you kick, right?
That's kind of hard.
That's kind of hardcore. So like I understand people's concern, but like my gym was like very kind and accommodating, and like we talked it out, and I was like, okay, like I don't need to like be kicking and like turning my body, but like I would love a little like punch moment. And so again, they adjusted to me, but it did take a lot of convincing at first. The next one is I talked about visitors only being allowed for 1 hour a day. Yeah. That was a big culture shock to me because, again, in the US, I feel like once that baby is out, people just kind of like bombard you. Like,
is there a limit? Maybe they make people leave at night. But
maybe, I don't know. But like, I kind of like for my partner being only able to visit 1 hour a day, that's like really like shitty, like I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was different for the partner.
Yeah, like if they had unlimited time or whatever. Yep. But I can see how this limitation can come in handy if, like, for example, you have really like I don't know, like overbearing in-laws, or maybe
that'd
like,
be nice.
Because like there are a lot of cases where mothers like truly need to rest, or like they have certain boundaries, like, hey, don't kiss my baby, and then you get like relatives that are like all
and
like
don't listen.
Yeah, like that don't listen or don't like that and stuff. So like in those cases, it's like really nice. Like I do appreciate that. This next one is like really big.
Okay.
Apparently, you cannot write the father's name on the birth certificate if you're not married. Yeah.
What?
Did you know that?
What?
Good thing I asked, because like, so if you're familiar like with Japan and like marriage and stuff, people tend to get married pretty quickly, more so when they're like expecting a baby. It's called dekichatta kết婚, dekikon for short, and it's like a shotgun marriage.
Shotgun wedding. Yeah.
You get pregnant, you get married immediately after. Before I knew this, I was kind of like, we don't need to do that. Like, what is that for? That's like, it sounds very like old school, but now I know that's probably the reason. And I only like brought this up at my hospital because when you're foreign getting married to Japanese, there's like more paperwork, more hoops you have to jump through to like be able to get married here.
Yeah.
We were kind of running on like a tight like schedule and a timeline.
Why is that not cardio?
Right. Oh, there you go. All that running around into the city hall. But I asked my hospital, I was like, hey, what if we don't like get married in time before the baby comes? Like, is that a thing? Like,
can you add it later?
I think so, but I don't know. So I was just like, how does that work? Like, whose name does the baby take? Like, what isn't? They're like, oh, you just like don't write anything in the father's section.
Oh, I thought you meant the baby just doesn't have a name.
He's just like invisible. He doesn't exist.
Baby number 1 million, whatever.
But like, so the mother's name would be written in like the child's name, of course, but then for the father, it would just be blank, or it would say like fume, like unknown. Which is so rude, yeah. So, like, heads up, if you are not married and you plan to have a baby, unfortunately, I know some people have, like, a plan for marriage and whatever. It's just a piece of paper here in Japan a lot of the time. So, like, as long as you submit it to City Hall, then, like, you can write the father's name on the birth certificate. And I believe if both parents are foreign, like, it's going to take, I don't know whose name it takes if like you don't change your name in Japan. I don't know how it like works between two foreign people in Japan. But for example, like if I'm American or I'm foreign, my partner is Japanese, at City Hall, like if you're Japanese, the wife can take the husband's name or vice versa in that moment, but we cannot. Like foreigners cannot change their name unless you go through like a separate name changing process.
I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second. Do you need to have the same name as the father?
No. Okay. You don't need to have the same name, but you do need to have that like koin todoke. Yeah, I didn't change my name either. Spoiler alert.
Do you need the koseki tohon, the marriage registry?
Yeah, so I think
family registry?
If one of the Japanese parent, I think the child will have the Japanese parent's like last name.
Okay.
So in this case, our kid will have, you know, my partner's last name.
Okay.
But like as a unit, I do not have the same name as them. Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I talked about all the financial like support that different wards and stuff offer. That was kind of like a nice, pleasant culture shock for me.
Yep.
I was also able to go to like a lot of mommy and me or like parents classes for free. That's just like what Osaka City offers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And like,
were they helpful?
They're very helpful. I mean, they teach you how to like, you know, give a bath to the baby and stuff, which like you don't think about it, but like, yeah, they're kind of tiny. Like there's a certain way to like hold them and like support their neck and stuff. So I took a lot of classes because it was free. And at those community centers, they also had like clothes available for free to take home because it was just donated by like, you know, other moms and stuff where the kids grew out of it. So got a lot of like free clothes and like books and resources from those. So if you are ever expecting in Japan, like please take advantage of like those, you know, support systems in your ward.
Good to know.
And another culture shock, I guess, was like, do you know furusato like shusan, or I forget what it's called, but it's like going home to your hometown to give birth.
Oh, yeah. One of my Japanese friends did that.
Did her partner go with her too?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
I think he just stopped working.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was kind of a culture shock for me. She was like, yeah, I'm giving birth soon, so I'm going home. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I get it, because it must be nice to like have your parents support, or your support and whatever. But the shocking thing to me was like, usually, the partner just stays like at home. Like they don't go with them until maybe after the baby is there, or I have no idea. It depends on the partner too, of course. So I was like, oh, interesting. You would like go back to your hometown to do all that. And in that same like note, so it's called tachiai in Japanese, which means like being in the room, like while giving birth. So I assume like the pregnant people who go home to give birth, if their partner isn't there, they're obviously not in the room with them to like see the birth of their kid. And I've like been asked a lot by Japanese people, like, is he going to be in there, like in the room, my partner? And I was like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't he be? Like, did you do that? Or like, do you want to do that? And a lot of them were like, oh, no. Like, he just waited outside. Or like, oh, no, I don't want him to be in there.
Well, okay. I mean, I feel like.
And I'm like, okay.
When the time comes, I don't want him looking.
Oh, I like want him to look.
He can just stay up at the upper half.
Yeah. And what I mean for me personally is like, I would like someone to hold my hand, you know, like be there for me, true. Wipe my forehead, like help me out. And also like, again, as a foreign person in Japan, like I'm probably going to be under a lot of stress or just like mentally exhausted. Yeah. They might ask me something. I have no idea what's going on. And I would like love the reassurance of having a Japanese person there. To like advocate for me, you know? And so that's why I wanted. But a lot of...
To each his own.
Yeah, of course. But I didn't know it was like not so common or so common for the partner to like not be even in the room at all.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. And so... Depends on the person. I know I've been yapping a lot about this. This is my last point. I'm so sorry. The customs that aren't popular in Japan is like gender reveal parties and like baby showers. Yeah. So like, you know, Japanese people aren't like causing wildfires and like burning hills down because of their gender reveal, which is like kind of nice. I personally didn't do that here either because it's not a big thing. But I did have a nice little baby shower. Yeah, with my close friends. Frankie was there. Yeah. So it's not like, you know, not allowed or against the rules if you want to do things like that here. Yeah. Just don't expect Japanese people to like ask you about it.
Yeah. But I feel like it might start becoming more popular.
Gender reveals definitely are.
Yeah.
In
especially
Japan,
with people who have foreign friends.
Yeah.
They might be like, oh, this is fun. Maybe I should try it.
That's true. And like TikTok and everything now too. I'm sure it's like becoming trendy. I saw one like between two Japanese people. They did a gender reveal with like onigiri. And so it was like the wife like homemade like 2 onigiris and like the stuff inside, like you can't see it, right? You have to bite into it. And so it's like salmon was like a girl, and then like umeboshi was a boy or something like that. And so the husband like bit into it, and that was his gender reveal. So it was like it was like a cute little cultural gender reveal moment. But anyway, those were my personal experiences and culture shocks about having babies in Japan. Do you have any other notes? I'm so sorry this one was long.
Yeah, I don't have experience having a baby at all or in Japan, so I don't have much insight to add.
Yeah.
I just,
But thanks
for teaching me a lot.
Of course. Thank you for being here with me literally throughout the whole journey. Like I said, probably by the time this episode gets posted, I'll be a mom already. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a lot of info, but if you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. And that's it. We will see you next time.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Yep.
Catch you later.
Bye. Babe. Baby. Oh. Your hair is like entangling me.